Welcome back. Take a look at this entire video. I almost guarantee that you'll see something that has never been put on YouTube before regarding Tesla's full self-driving. Check out the chapters below. This is a great drive where we first start off on some residential streets, slowly move into some downtown traffic, and then some tricky highway driving to boot is added on at the end. You'll see it all on this drive. And better yet, you'll see how FSD manages some unique situations. To start off, you can see how FSD managed that speed bump there, and we've got one more up ahead. Take a closer look at my speedometer, how it slows down there right before we hit the speed bump and gently go over. A definite improvement over what we've seen in previous versions of FSD, and does a fantastic job there in protecting the vehicle. Now, does FSD always catch every speed bump? No, but it does it more often than not from what I'm finding now. As we speed up the camera ahead, you can see that FSD's proactively gotten into the left lane to get ahead of the parked vehicle on the right, as well as the lane closing off on the right here with some construction. You can see that things are going to be getting very narrow and quite tight, and we've got two-way traffic going through. Again, that's not a problem that we've noticed in the latest versions of FSD, where it is much more adept at driving through construction areas and very good at driving in very tight conditions. Excellent job with that. Okay, again, we're speeding up the cameras here. We're going through a bit of a winding road now. I'm going to slow down the camera just to pay attention to the speedometer. The speed limit here is 40 kilometers an hour, as you just saw on that sign there. As we're passing these vehicles on the right, we are going about 60 kilometers, which is about 20 over the limit. And this is an issue that FSD's been having for some time. Definitely when I find out here in Canada for roads that are about 40 kilometers an hour, FSD is always speeding around that. Now watch this amazing maneuver right now. We've got this person here in the right lane who's trying to get into the left lane. FSD is trying to get by them, but we're at a solid line now. So we're at a bit of a stalemate, so FSD accelerates and gets right ahead of them. So it did that aggressively, but also did that in a very safe manner, I thought, in that it sort of cleared a difficult situation there. But now, we've zoomed past them, and the speed limit here is still 40, so it's going a bit too fast. What I would like to see FSD do, and in future versions, is that it tones it down a little bit. It really should be going maybe in the upper 40s at most here. So hopefully in these latest versions that they'll go and fix that. Again, we're going to speed up a little bit. If you look on the map, eventually what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having to get into the left turn lane and then turn left ahead. And you're going to see something that's a little bit unique here. It's probably something you don't see in normal FSD videos, so take a look. Okay, we're getting close to having to make that left turn. So, right now we can't get into the left turn lane because we've got a lot of parked cars there. So once we get past this construction zone there, we're going to see how fast FSD can move into the left lane. So you can see we've got a lane closure there. And once we pass this light, FSD is going to have to get into that left lane relatively quickly because we've got that left turn coming up very quickly. And we've got traffic in front of us that's going to box us out. And there you go. There you see the left turn lane, and FSD gets in. Now, take a look at this. I'm slowing the camera down, and it's a bit of a sad situation here. If you just look ahead, fortunately, we've got a homeless gentleman who is lying down there on the sidewalk. He's got a good part of his body extended out into the road. So you'll see I start putting my hand on the wheel just to make sure that FSD is going to go around them. Take a look at the steering wheel. You saw a little bit of a tweak to the right there. FSD does go safely around that individual, but again, that's not something you typically see there. So I'm glad that it did that, but it's still a sad situation. As you can see, it turned left into the middle of this road here, and we've got this vehicle in front of us that's kind of in both lanes. We're going to see where FSD is going to try to put us, probably in the right lane. Let's take a look at the wheel. It's kind of deciding what it wants to do. Traffic's moving slowly ahead, and now we got a bit more space, and FSD puts me into the right lane. Now, I'm okay with it being in the right lane, even though it might be a slower one, because if you look up ahead, we're going to be turning right, and we've got these left lanes here that can close off there with people trying to make left turns there. So I'm happy with FSD staying into the right lane, being cautious, and getting ahead of any situations up front. So what we'll do is we'll speed up the camera again. You can see again FSD has no issues driving on this downtown street, staying in the right lane. You can see lots of traffic, pedestrians in front of us, not an issue for FSD. And where I'll slow it down is when we're about to hit the ramp to go onto the highway where there's some more pedestrians. So take a look at this. Okay, as you can see, we're just waiting for that traffic in front to open up a little bit. we have a green light. We've got people who are looking to cross the street now. So FSD is going to be moving smoothly across there, no issues. Now look what happens. I'm going to slow it down. You see that individual there who's now leaning forward to hit the light? FSD actually sensed him and started to slow down slightly. And then it quickly changed and went forward when it realized that this person's not going to be crossing the street. And it did that very, very fast. So, but it did take into account that this person was at a different angle than the other pedestrians out there, and it was ready to hit the brakes and adjust. So it did a very good job with that. Okay, now we're getting onto the highway. As you can see, this is this elevated highway that we see a lot in some of my previous downtown videos. So now I'm on that highway, and we're going to see how FSD is going to go merge into the traffic. Okay, it's going to have to accelerate. Take a look at my screen. You can see where there's cars in the middle lane. It's waiting for those cars to pass. It does that. It smoothly moves into the middle lane. It does a fantastic job with that. And what it's probably going to do is try to get into the left lane, because we have a lot of we have some closures that are up ahead, lane closures, and we've got some on and off ramps as well on the right side. So FSD likes to get around those more often than not. So we'll see when it makes that move to the left, and you can see it's trying to move into the left lane now and has no issues with that. Fantastic job with that. So great merging right there, and I love it when I see it passing slow traffic like that. Now we're going to speed up the camera up here because we're going to run into a bit of a traffic. But up ahead, you're going to see probably was going to be the main feature of this video, and something you definitely, well, I shouldn't say definitely, but most likely have not seen before on a YouTube video when it comes to Tesla's full self-driving. All right, it's going to be coming up in a few seconds here. If you look on the map, eventually I will have to get into the right lane, but that's still far ahead. Okay, here we go. Look in the middle lane at that truck up ahead there. You can't see it right now, but on top of that truck is a stop sign. Look what happens as I get closer to approaching that vehicle, and take a look at my speedometer there. Again, it's slow traffic right now. You can see I'm going about 20, I'm getting closer, and now look what happens to the speedometer. Look at the speed here. You see how it just drops here? It's putting me to a stop right now. And I'm going to just pause it right here. And I think it's doing it because it sees a stop sign. Even though that stop sign is on a moving vehicle in a truck, FSD is thinking that I need to stop the vehicle right now. And I don't know if it's doing that because we're driving at such a slow speed right now. I don't know how it would react to that if, say, we were going much faster. But definitely something that we should think about in the future, because I don't know how many vehicles drive around with stop signs on them. Maybe they got them attached to the back, but something that like that could maybe fool FSD, and if you're going at high speed, that could be an issue. Now let's just get ahead of that vehicle, but you know, I kind of have my foot on the pedal getting ahead of it, and now it's off. But I've definitely never seen that before. Now look at this. I'm trying to get into the middle lane, but the lane is closing off, and you can see those other cars are moving in there as well. So FSD backs off. So it does a great adjustment there. So I was very happy with that. So, you know, again, I was proactively trying to get into that right lane, but when it saw that it was not safe, it put me back into the left lane. Let's look at my camera again, or look at the display. You can see there's lots of traffic there that's in the right lane. Again, I need to get into this right lane sooner than later, but I don't have an appropriate spot right now. So FSD is going to have to look for that spot. So let's see when it squeezes in. Okay, you can see it's signaling right now. It starts moving over and gets in because it saw there was a gap there between that truck and the vehicle. So it did a good job there. So it didn't rush in needlessly when it had to, but when it saw its move, it moves in aggressively. Okay, so I'll speed up the camera again as we're about to get off the highway, and FSD is going to have to do some decision making up ahead. Let's see how it manages that. All right, we're getting off the highway here. Now here's something I want to note here for FSD. As you can see, there's a long line of traffic there in that lane on the left. Eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to have to get into this lane because this lane that I'm in right now is going to become a right turn lane, and I do not want to be turning right. So it's going to be difficult for FSD to kind of move over right now, but it should be signaling to try to get ahead of that before the lane closes off. Let's see when it goes and does that. As you can see, it is not very easy for FSD to move over right now. But as you can see, there's the right turn lane, and FSD starts signaling there. If you look now, it's become a bit of a solid line. So what I would have preferred is that it's a little bit more proactive there and started doing that maneuver before we hit the solid line. But having said that, still moved over, and look right here at the fork. Again, a tricky fork gets me into the correct lane. It doesn't get me back onto that highway, which is fantastic. So I was very happy with the decision making it did there. Now we're going to speed up the camera. And again, what we're going to notice right here when I slow down the camera is FSD is going to have to do a lane change. And we're going to see when it actually makes that lane change. As you can see, I've got a wide empty road in front of me. I don't have any cars on my side. As you can see up ahead on the map, I'm going to have to turn right. So, FSD, and it does usually do a good job, is it's got to signal and get into that right lane. And it's doing so right now, but it's moving over very, very slowly right now. Actually, painfully slowly. And this is something that I really don't see much in FSD. And you can see I got the solid line, and then it kind of just moves me over then. So it should have moved me over much quicker than that. I don't know why I did. I don't know why I was tardy with that. Again, there was no traffic around me, so it really should have just done that earlier. But hey, it got me into the right lane eventually, and no issue. Now we're going to wait for all these vehicles here to go and see how patient FSD is before it makes its right move. Okay, vehicles pass. Nice aggressive right turn there, I like that. And it's going to have to get me into the left lane, because this lane, as you can see, is going to end here with some parked cars. And here, see, now this did a fantastic job. It found a break there, and it aggressively went in there. I say aggressively, but it did it with purpose. It wasn't dangerous at all. I think it overall did a fantastic job. So that brings us to the end of this drive. And boy, did we see a lot of things. To start off the drive, FSD did some great work on narrow residential street and managed some speed bumps very well, doing excellent braking and negotiation of the bumps. Going through traffic and construction was solid as always. FSD passed some cars very well and very safely. My one issue is that speeding is something we still see on slower roads that sometimes makes FSD really exceed those speed limits by a bit too much. This is a well-documented issue that we hope Tesla fixes. The new scenario that we saw was the braking on the highway at slow speeds when FSD saw that truck with the stop sign mounted on top. I don't know if this was a one-off reaction, but obviously FSD cannot brake in these situations, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that. Lastly, some of the lane changing could be a bit more proactive so we don't run out of space when maneuvering into a turning lane. To finish off here, we'll see FSD do some amazing parallel parking on a tight road. I personally stink at parallel parking, so this is a godsend for me. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think about that sign on the truck? I look forward to reading your comments. You all drive safe, and I'll see you on the roads.